Today we're honored to welcome Amita Sharma to the show today. How are you?
Great, great. Thank you, Anthony. I love the work you're doing. You're a new podcaster, so I'm actually pretty excited. It's good to be on a brand new podcast, like a brand new baby here.
Yeah, yeah. Likewise, I really think the work that you're doing is important, and more people need to hear about it because there's a lot of health issues that we're just taught that we have to deal with, and the reality is there's always something that we can do, even if things can't get all the way better. I always feel there's room for improvement. So I'm very glad to have you here. So, out of curiosity, what is the story that got you into this place of helping people and women's health in the first place?
It was a lot of my personal, up and down kind of challenges, not serious health challenges, I would say, but challenges that were kind of undiagnosed, not well understood, like chronic fatigue when I was in my 30s. Then before that, in my 20s, I had jaundice, so I had to always rely on food as medicine, exercise as medicine to help myself, to heal myself, I should say that. And then in my 40s, the perimenopause journey is that really kind of moved the needle, so to speak, right? Because that impacted my career, my finances, my productivity, all of that, right? So there were like every decade kind of had a little bit of a thing that led me to holistic wellness, and with perimenopause, it was a silent struggle. I'll be honest with you. I never spoke up. For the fear of being judged, for the fear of age discrimination, whatever you want to call it. A lot of women go through that, right? I was no exception. But around COVID time frame, after the COVID, I had some time to reflect. All of us
Yeah,
actually at that time had time to
for sure.
reflect on what we are doing in the universe, where our life is, where do we want to go, or what if we die. A lot of people were dying. I mean, it was pretty serious, right? The COVID time. So and we lost, most of us lost someone we knew, and so did I. And it just made me
Yeah,
reflect. And this whole idea of the society relying so much on the pill bothered me all the time. Over medication. My mom has been over medicated. She can't walk now. She never wanted to listen. So many people I've seen over medications, and then the end result is so bad, right? So I wanted to bring something on the holistic wellness to, you know, in a way. And then that's kind of how the journey started with me. As I was telling you earlier, interviewing over 5,000 global holistic experts from all kind of topics you can think of. And during my conversations with them, this whole topic of menopause, perimenopause kept coming up because majority of them were mid-aged women. And they kept talking about, oh, when I was going through this, I had autoimmune and same time I had perimenopause. And I'm like, I also had that, but I never spoke up. So that's kind of led me into more research into this particular topic on women's wellness, since I had gone through it and I never spoke up. And that's when I realized, more and more I dug into it, more I realized, oh my God, underserved, under researched. It's beyond the physical part that we keep talking about, hot flashes only. It's not only that, it's emotional, your relationships, your financial, it's everything. And that's kind of how it started. And we started working on it full force, our team, about 2 years back, going into this particular topic, and decided to build a platform solely focused on women's wellness.
that's awesome. I love that story. Part of it sounds like what motivated you is you're kind of looking for external, like a pill, like you said, instead of actually self empowerment and actual healing strategies. Do I have that right?
Yeah, yeah, you could frame it like that, yeah.
Awesome. Uh, what health issues do you see plaguing most women today? Is there certain things that stick out for you?
Well, okay, so this question is different for different ethnic groups of the women. It's not like I can say one issue encompasses all the women in the world. Because it depends on how a woman has taken care of herself when she's in her 20s, 30s, 40s, and now when the menopause stage is typically 50s and above. So just to give you an example, in this country, in the United States, 80% of women over 55 have one chronic condition. That's quite
Wow.
alarming. 80% of them. And we're talking diabetes, we're talking probably cancer, we're talking osteoporosis, dementia, heart health, metabolic. Uh, these are the issues. So rise of chronic condition is what I have observed has been more for women than for men. And if you correlate why that's happening, right, is because of lack of understanding of hormonal fluctuations and hormonal shifts that start happening in a woman's body when she's entering perimenopause, and lack of care and lack of hormonal balance during those years may lead to a rise of chronic condition when the women get older.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, I'm sure you're familiar with this, but like a lot of the research, like circadian rhythm is a perfect example. It's done in men, right? Because we're not taking these things into account. And when we have a full picture of when we start actually researching men and women, that's when we actually start to have the data that can actually help people. I think this is changing a little bit, but I mean, have you seen that in the past? It's kind of primarily been in men.
I haven't seen much on the men. I mean, a lot of men have interviewed me like yourself. But circadian rhythm is definitely we are not following as a society, right? Pretty much, circadian rhythm means following the rhythm of the nature, and also we are also not. There's a lot of things that have come out from my research of talking to a lot of people is use of heavy pesticides, insecticides, and food supply, right? Us not following some kind of a circadian rhythm, like you pointed out, society not following, proper dietary guidelines or lifestyle guidelines, eating a lot of more processed food, especially in the United States than other parts of the world. All of these are contributing factors to estrogen dominance. I'm sure you know that. And endocrine disruptors, which disrupt our hormones inside our body, whether it's you're a guy or a female, it doesn't matter. And that there are a lot of factors that's going on. It's just not one thing. That's what my research has led me to believe.
100%. I mean, like in America as a whole, we have uh, I would say 60% of people have at least one chronic disease. But you're saying like you said 55 and up, and women is about 80%. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
This is
that's quite a
CDC.
jump.
This is CDC. CDC has released these
Yeah,
numbers.
that's quite a jump. What I meant to say earlier is like in the medical literature, uh, like the research, whatever it is primarily done in men. So
Yeah.
that means like we don't really have because it doesn't necessarily translate to women, right? Because I mean sometimes it does, but sometimes it doesn't. And if we actually start to put women more in the studies, I think that would be more beneficial. That's kind of what I meant to say.
Oh yeah, women were not even included in the studies since like up until 1992, something like that. Can you imagine? We don't have the data. They thought that all humanity men are, it's okay, it doesn't matter, and we know the women's physiology is so different than men. I mean, that's just the fact. And so we barely have a 30-year-old data, and then on top of that, the research that was done on women was so wrong, on especially on the HRT. That it's crazy, and that kind of created such an alarm on the breast cancer part, and then they said now the HRT is safe. I mean, it's just been a mess, the women's body, and no wonder more women are entering into the assisted age, right? Assisted living, sorry. And more women have dementia, heart health. I mean, if you look at an average 60, 65-year-old woman anywhere in the world, forget about United States, typically, I'm saying generic, is she's overweight, she has a problem in walking, she has joint pain, she has chronic fatigue, the work that at age 65, and majority of them have all these conditions. I mean, it's like, and if they're going to live for another 20 years, what kind of quality of life they're going to live? It's just going to be so sad and bad.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, are there certain environmental factors that you see are really affecting women in this area? Like, because there's so many, but is there anything that you can pinpoint it to?
Environmental, I don't know. I didn't find so much. I mean, most of my research was in the food additives and insecticides and pesticides. Environmental, I think the air quality is pretty good in this country at least, but in other parts of the world, I am sure where the air quality is not good, that impacts all these hormonal disruptors, what we were talking about. But I did, I mean, environmental in the sense, the kind of household stuff that we are using, household supplies or the cleaners and the makeup, that's kind of can also disrupt your hormones, right? These kind of things that we use, because there are a lot of chemicals that are generally in the household cleaners. We are inhaling the fumes when we use all those things. So we've come a long way, right? If you look at it in the last decade, the overall rise of organic and natural materials in food, as well as in the cleaning supplies, it has become better, but majority of them is use of all these ingredients in everything, every household things, from the food to the cleaning to the makeup to shampoo to every single thing you can think of, right?
Absolutely. Something I see a lot is like people have the perfect diet, right? They'll get their sleep, their exercise, but then they're using conventional care products, right, out of some type of ideology. And, that can be an issue, like, because your skin essentially is a giant mouth that absorbs as well. So we got
Yeah.
to be careful with, all these personal care products.
Yeah, yeah. I personally use, I'm telling you, I stopped using off the shelf products, any cosmetic products. I personally use all organic, all natural oils, mainly, oil. That, me personally, I'm very particular about all these things, because what you just said, and keeping your gut health clean so the skin is clean. It's all like cleansing, right? It's not just using those heavy, expensive cosmetic products is going to make you better. It's the inside out cleansing, which a lot of us don't understand that what it means, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and another thing you kind of mentioned is pesticides. Well, I would consider that environmental. I mean, because it's affecting the environment on a pretty significant level. And what I like to say for people is that the suffix "side" means to kill, right? It's done this through like tiny microorganisms in our body, and it can be neurogenic or estrogenic. So these things can be very detrimental to our bodies. And everything used to be organic. This is kind of really a new thing. Do I have that right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when we were growing up, we never heard of all these things. Now that our kids are going to grow up, we're thinking it's normal, right? I mean, that's the problem. Like when we were growing up, we ate every day fresh foods. Typically used to have a small garden in the house, and the fresh vegetables growing out in your garden, and you pluck it and you cook it. It was farm to table, right, sort of thing, in a very minuscule kind of a way. But who has the time to do all that? I mean, I don't have time to do all that, but that's a fact of life. What do you do?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, another thing you talk about is building a socially conscious organization. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, because you know what? Uh, we can, I mean, there's nothing wrong with making money, being a capitalist kind of organization, but an organization, a business, I personally feel that makes an impact on people's lives is more meaningful. To me, at least, is more meaningful, making a social impact, making an actual impact on people's lives. In this case, the thing that we are building, we're really bringing out a huge topic that has been shrouded in mystery, shrouded in being a taboo, a stigmatized kind of a thing, right? Nobody wanted to talk about perimenopause, menopause. Up until like 2-3 years back, we're bringing this entire thing out of a closet, out of a chest, so to speak, that has been buried for over, like, God knows, hundreds and hundreds of years, and bringing it out in the open for an open discussion and normalizing the discussion, and actually making an impact on women's lives at the end of the day, in their relationships, in their physical bodies, in their mental health, in their careers, like I said, and empowering them to take care of themselves, right? So to me, that is genuinely trying to make an impact. Not only that, what at the end of the day is, it has to be economical, affordable, and scalable. That is important, because it should not be, in my mind, that's really how you make an impact socially, is that when something that someone creates can be accessed and can be affordable for every single person. I literally mean that, not only to handful of rich women or professional women. That should not be the case. So we have tried very, very hard to make sure that whatever we are doing has to be accessible to a woman in Africa, for that matter, or anywhere else whose daily wage is less than a buck, as an example. So that is, to me, should be, at least all the companies should try to make some kind of a social impact when they have the luxury, and they're blessed with all the things that we are here in United States.
Absolutely. That's the power of business. I mean, overcoming our own story can really give us that power and agency to actually help other people. I mean, because I find that most people in the wellness space, they either have their own health issue or someone else that they love, which is why they got started.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of what I do as well. I mean, just making an impact every day and just seeing people get better is amazing.
Yeah, no, 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 absolutely. And most of us, yes, you're right. Most of us get into the wellness space either they've themselves gone through some kind of a medical system has failed them. Majority of them that I have interviewed, that is the pretty much the case, or they've had some loved ones who's gone through the medical system and it didn't help them, and then they resort to the wellness industry.
Definitely. Another thing, we just talked about it a little bit, but building a woman's own startup. I'm curious, what does it actually take, and how do people essentially turn their pain into purpose?
So women's own startup is, it's a bit different. Like we're not trying to exclude men. That's that was not the intention, to be honest with you. But the reason we picked women only is because of the reason I talked earlier, is because, the research, as you said yourself, was not even done on women. The data on women is not very well understood, especially this topic of hormonal imbalance is not very well understood. So these are the topics that I personally felt needed more attention. That's why the women's only startup was the reason we decided to focus on that, to really have people focus attention on why it is important, right? That was the idea. The idea was not to exclude men or exclude kids, for the example, or teenagers. The idea was to make this whole topic bubble up. And as you know, a woman is the center of her household, your mom, I'm sure. So that's everything revolves around a woman in a home, the kids and the family and all that. And if she's not taken care of well, the entire family, sort of like a organization, so to speak, or an institution, falls apart. So the idea was to bring this up. The woman who has been caring for others, who is so selfless, unconditional love that she gives to her family members and does everything, but for herself, there's not enough. Really, honestly, that was the message that I wanted to bring out for doing a women-only startup and focusing on women's wellness. Is you are important as a woman, you are worth it, and you need to take care of yourself, and self-care is not selfish. That was the whole genesis behind this.
I love that. Yeah, I see it a lot as well. Um, a lot of us, we take care of everyone else. I mean, especially women, right? And we make sure everyone is cared for. We have all this love and compassion. But then when it comes to our own goals and taking care of ourselves, we just kind of put that to the side,
Yeah.
and we kind of end up being almost a subpar version of what we could be.
Yeah, I am an example too. We always do that. We always end up putting someone else's, mainly our family members, before us, right? And compromise or sacrifice, I should say, that our own what we want to achieve, unless someone is behind you. See, so you need to be able to, as a human being, live the life that you want to live and express your voice. It is important, because guess what will happen as you grow older? Everything will bubble up, and some volcano will happen one day, and you don't know where that's going to take you from a mental health point of view, right?
Definitely. I mean, I feel like the best thing we can do is be the model, like be the living, walking example of what you talk about, because then the more that you grow, the more that you can serve. And everyone else around you is going to get better as well, because you're actually being a model and a light for everyone else.
Yeah, and remove the negative. It's hard to do sometimes, but remove the negative factors around you if you can. Sometimes it happens within your family. You have negativity that's inside your family that's kind of brewing, and you can't shake it off. It happens. I've interviewed so many women with domestic abuse, with some kind of other abuse at home. It's hard for them to shake it out and be who they are. It's hard. I'm not saying it's easy, but we need to give justice to our well-being as well.
Absolutely, yeah. It's definitely there's definitely going to be challenges. I mean, but I feel like life kind of qualifies us for the work that we do in a sense. Like it doesn't come easy. Like in my experience, like there's challenges every single day. But this is the life I signed up for, right? Like I didn't come here to be average. I came here to reach my full potential, and I understand that challenges are part of the process. And don't change the goal, change the approach. Just stay focused on the mission every day, and it's gonna look different for everyone. But as long as you're just taking that next step and becoming the greatest version of you, I find that's the best way to walk forward.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree 100%. You have to have your own goals, you have to have your own vision, mission. And sometimes, it can have a conflicting opinion within the family or within the loved ones. It happens, but you need to stay true to yourself if you can, so that you can live with yourself, because you've come here alone in this world and you're going to go alone as well, right?
100%. Yeah. I
And
mean,
that's a fact. So you try to be true to yourself. I think at least you have nirvana, some kind of a nirvana inside, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
yeah, 100%. I mean, a point that I wanted to circle back around is you talked about a women's only startup. I know you said it wasn't intentional, but I think that's kind of important to do sometimes. Like, because people look to that as like kind of a beacon of inspiration as well, right? I think all things are good in terms of that, and we just need to do what's best for us and have like an understanding, right, and actually empower that because intentional or not, like just men things only and women things only. I think that has a place and is needed as well, but it's all depending on I guess what you desire.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, if you focus on one thing, like we are doing, focusing on one particular topic, that elevates the importance of like why the heck, like you asked me a question. So many people ask me, why only this? Why not everything else? I say, I wanted this to be important for people to understand that this particular topic, which has been ignored, which has not been fully researched, the research was done that was wrong, and it confused the heck out of women, and women have been dismissed. All these things have to bubble up, right? That how important a mid-aged woman is, because she is in the center of the universe of her family, and if you screwing her life, in this case of wellness, you literally impacting the entire family nucleus here, and in essence the society and the community, right? That is how it's at the how it is at the cell level. Now in this case it is at the family level, and then and from the family it goes to the community and everything else, and that's what is important for us to understand as a society.
100%. It's important to bring clarity to that for sure. Lastly, talk about sexual health for women. You want to bring that up a little bit?
Yeah, so that is one of the topics that has not been well understood, and also has been under the carpet, right? Because people don't want to talk about it in the rest of the world. So this is one of the could be a symptom from what the research says. Part of the symptom during the perimenopause menopause phase, the women can have a loss of libido, and what you can do to help yourself, and it can also impact your relationships. Sometimes you see the data, 60% of the divorce that happens for women are during this phase of their life when they're going through perimenopause menopause. So I'm not saying the menopause is triggering the divorce, but there is a certain relationship of the loss of libido and the loss of body, confidence, body image. All of this above can also lead to relationship cracks with your spouse or with your partners. So this is something that men and women need to navigate together if this is happening, and how do you bring this subject in a sensitive way and seek help from maybe a sexual therapist or a sexologist or someone who can help you uh, go through this. And that's what one of the things that we are going to have on our platform is this particular topic, which is such a kind of a topic, but in every movie and everything, and we see that, but when it comes to our personal lives, we don't want to talk about it. How do you talk about it in a healthy way, right, without sounding that, oh my God, and this is like a taboo and I can't talk about it, right?
100%. I mean, I feel like awareness is the first step to change. And if we don't want to be honest within ourselves, that can be a problem because then we can't really do anything to change it. I mean, first we be honest within ourselves, and then we can bring it to other people. And sometimes bringing it to help other people first can actually bring it to us in a sense. So it kind of goes both ways. But I find that, I mean, this is a very important part of our life as well. And on this show, we talk about being the greatest version of us. And they cannot discount anything because everything is interconnected. And if it's a glaring issue in your life, it's important to address that, whatever it is. You say the same thing?
Yeah, because we are a one body, right? We are not like how
Yeah.
medical fraternity compartmentalize. Okay, for eyes you go to this, for this you go to that, for this you go to that. And then I was talking to a woman. It's actually quite a sad story. Just a couple of days back, and she was diagnosed with a tumor in her thyroid, and she was telling me that she had to go to like 20 different specialists and 3 different hospitals in different parts of the country to be able to figure out that this was just that this was the whatever issues. Can you imagine that? So it's important to understand your body as a complete, total, holistic mind, body, and soul, what we call it, rather than compartmentalizing it and figuring that way.
100%. Yeah, everything is connected. All right. Amita, this has been awesome. I'm curious, is there anything that you'd like to add for the people?
Yeah, so we're coming out with the app, as I said, talked a little bit about it. And the app is, the idea with the app is to really empower women with starting with the self-care. They need to understand this phase of their life. And then from self-care, we go to the guided care with the experts. So would love anyone to check out the app. The app comes out in August, and the price points are going to be less than a cup of coffee for 1 month, believe it or not. That's how we want
Awesome.
this to be accessible. Yeah.
Yeah, accessibility is the key because there's so much information out there, but are we using it, right?
Yeah,
Like, knowledge is not power. Knowledge applied is power and wisdom.
exactly. Too much knowledge. We are bombarded with so much knowledge, so much content. Our minds cannot process it. So what we've done is we've really sort of like assemble the right kind of knowledge and put it in sort of like a box that gets fed in a proper and a way, as per the woman's symptom, as per the woman's stage, as per woman whatever, so that you can come in here and get the right type of information from the right type of experts. That is the intention here.
I love that. All right. If people want to get connected with you and your work, where can they go for that?
So right now our website is the best way, www.nourishdoc.com.
Awesome. All right, Amita, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing all your insights with us.
Thank you.